We live in an age that worships success, but not the kind rooted in mastery or meaning. Instead, it's the glossy illusion broadcast across curated feeds. Luxury cars gleaming under filtered light, job titles inflated for prestige, follower counts paraded like social proof of worth. But beneath this glamorous facade lies a deeper, more unsettling reality. Most people aren't chasing success. They're running from failure. Or, more precisely, from the fear of being seen as failures. That fear, quiet but insistent, fuels an endless performance, a desperate race for approval that drains energy and never delivers fulfillment. It creates a generation of exhausted actors, trapped on a stage they never chose, applauded for roles that slowly kill their spirit. Machiavelli, cold-eyed and clairvoyant, would watch this spectacle with a sardonic smile. Not because he dismissed ambition, he respected power, but because he understood a deeper law of human nature. The man obsessed with image forfeits his autonomy. The moment you begin to crave constant validation, you relinquish control. You no longer act, you react. You become a slave to perception, a puppet tugged by invisible strings of public opinion. And no puppet, no matter how admired, can ever be truly free. This is the hidden flaw at the core of our cultural idea of success. We've mistaken performance for progress. We equate visibility with value and the accumulation of symbols, money, status, followers, with the substance of achievement. The result? People who seem to have it all, yet wake up hollow. They tick every box on the societal checklist: six-figure income, enviable lifestyle, perfect LinkedIn headline, and still feel the gnawing void of dissatisfaction. Because deep down, they know the truth. They built a life for others to admire, not one they truly wanted to live. But it doesn't have to stay that way. There is a path out of this illusion, and it begins with strategy, not sentiment. By applying 5 Machiavellian principles, you can dismantle the prison of performative success and reconstruct something real, something powerful. These are not abstract musings, but hard-earned, battle-tested laws of power. They offer a way to reclaim control, to define success not by applause, but by alignment with your deeper purpose. In a world built to exploit your insecurities, this is the ultimate act of rebellion, to pursue fulfillment on your own terms. 1. The performance trap. Why visible success is often fake success. Step into the digital theater of modern life, and you'll see the same script playing out over and over again. The entrepreneur flaunts screenshots of 6-figure months while secretly drowning in debt. The influencer posing beside a rented Lamborghini, staging a lifestyle they can't afford. The corporate executive touts their 80-hour work weeks while quietly watching their health, marriage, and sanity unravel. On the surface, it looks like success, but look closer, and it's often a well-lit illusion. Centuries ago, Machiavelli warned us, men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. Translation: people trust what they see, not what's real. And in an age dominated by optics, many fall into the performance trap, trading authentic achievement for the appearance of it and losing themselves in the process. But the solution isn't to shun ambition, it's to reclaim it with integrity. Real power doesn't scream, it builds in silence. What I call quiet building is the antidote, a disciplined commitment to create substance before seeking spotlight. It means finishing the work before announcing it to the world. It means building financial security before broadcasting wealth. It means developing deep expertise before declaring yourself an expert. And it means nurturing real relationships before trying to impress strangers with curated snapshots. This isn't about false modesty. It's about alignment. It's about letting your image trail your reality, not outpace it. When you live this way, your confidence becomes grounded, not in applause, but in proof. And that kind of confidence can't be shaken because it doesn't depend on being seen. It comes from knowing who you are when no one's watching. 2. The validation addiction. How likes and praise make you weak. Picture the cycle. You achieve something real, something that mattered to you. You share it online, and the digital applause begins. Likes stack up, compliments flow in, dopamine hits like a wave. For a moment, you feel seen, you feel significant, but then the noise fades, the glow dims, and in the silence that follows, an itch returns. The craving for another hit, another post, another round of external approval. What once felt like a celebration now reveals itself as a trap. Machiavelli saw the seeds of this centuries ago when he wrote, "The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances." In today's world, that crowd is the algorithm-fed masses, and their approval has become a currency far too many are willing to trade their inner peace for. The brutal truth is this: when you allow your worth to be determined by strangers, you hand over the keys to your emotional kingdom. You become reactive, volatile. Your highs and lows dictated not by your values, but by engagement metrics. But there is a way to break free. You must begin building what I call internal validation muscles. Daily rituals that strengthen your trust in yourself, independent of outside noise. Start with a morning integrity check. What would make me proud today, even if no one ever knew? End your day with a quiet reflection. Did I stay true to who I am when nobody was watching? And once a week, unplug. Enter a blackout period. No posts, no feedback, no eyes on you. Just presence. The transformation is subtle at first, but powerful. As your need for applause dissolves, your presence becomes magnetic. People respect those who don't beg for it. The less validation you seek, the more naturally it finds you. Because in a world full of approval addicts, nothing is more attractive than someone who doesn't need to be liked. 3. The identity crisis of material success. We've all been through the subtle interrogation that masquerades as small talk. What do you do? Where do you live? What car do you drive? These aren't harmless questions. They're social X-rays, scanning for status signals to determine your worth in a hierarchy built on the surface. In this culture, identity isn't defined by values or character, but by possessions, titles, and zip codes. And the more you play that game, the more you lose sight of who you truly are. Machiavelli, always ruthless in his clarity, once said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." In our age, the lesson morphs into this: it's far more secure to be respected for your integrity than admired for your assets. Because admiration rooted in what you own is fragile. One bad turn and it vanishes. But respect earned through conviction and principle, that's untouchable. It follows you through every reinvention. To reclaim your identity from the shallow grip of materialism, you need a personal rebellion. Start by writing your own declaration of independence from external validation. Complete the sentence, "I am proud of myself because," with one strict rule: no mention of money, status, or possessions. Focus only on the inner traits that can't be bought or displayed on a feed. It might look like this: I honor my word even when it's inconvenient. I face uncomfortable truths instead of clinging to comforting lies. I protect my peace instead of chasing applause. Say it, write it, repeat it daily. Let these words become your foundation. Over time, your internal compass begins to shift from what I have to who I am. You'll notice it in the choices you make, the goals you pursue, even the people you let into your life. That's the quiet revolution, living not to impress, but to align. And once you're anchored in identity, the world can't shake you. 4. The never-ending chase: why success doesn't satisfy. Modern life has turned ambition into a treadmill. Set a goal, chase it relentlessly, reach it, feel a fleeting surge of pride, and then immediately set the next, bigger goal. We call it progress. But in reality, it's addiction in disguise, a socially sanctioned cycle of striving that rarely delivers peace. The result? Millions of high achievers quietly burning out, haunted by a question they don't dare ask aloud. Why doesn't this feel like enough? Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer named this endless hunger the will, an internal force that always demands more, no matter how much you feed it. And centuries earlier, Machiavelli whispered a solution in sharper language: a prince must learn how not to be good. In today's world, that translates to this hard truth: if you want to reclaim your life, you must learn how not to obey society's scripted version of success. You must dare to define enough on your own terms. The tool for this is deceptively simple. Schedule weekly stillness sessions. No noise, no notifications, just space to reflect. Ask yourself, which parts of my life feel forced, like performances? Which goals truly ignite me, and which are echoes of someone else's expectations? Can I allow myself to feel content right now, even as I continue to build? This is the practice of strategic satisfaction, a mindset that lets you enjoy the present without sacrificing your drive. It's not about settling. It's about refusing to defer happiness to some distant milestone. Because when you stop sprinting blindly and start moving with intention, you realize something profound. Fulfillment isn't found in the finish line. It's built into the way you run. 5. Redefining success as sovereign alignment. One of the greatest tragedies of modern life is the person who wins by all conventional standards: impressive resume, enviable lifestyle, public admiration, yet feels like a stranger inside their own success. They've followed the rules, hit every milestone, collected all the symbols of achievement, and still feel hollow. Why? Because they built a life that looked good instead of one that felt true. Machiavelli's insight cuts straight through this illusion. It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. But the most liberating deception isn't about outsmarting others. It's about breaking free from the lie that your worth depends on external applause. When you stop deceiving yourself, when you stop mistaking visibility for value, you begin the real work, aligning success with sovereignty. Start by creating your own success constitution, a personal code that defines your life on your terms. Ask yourself, what makes me proud of who I'm becoming? What would I still do if no one ever praised me for it? What values am I willing to defend, even if they make me unpopular? Let these answers become your compass. Live by them quietly and unapologetically. And watch what happens. The more you let go of performing success, the more real success begins to find you, not as a performance, but as a natural consequence of living with integrity. Because most people, if we're honest, are chasing mirages, versions of success handed to them by parents, peers, or platforms. They run harder, faster, longer, only to find the finish line keeps moving. Not because they're broken, but because they're following someone else's map. Machiavelli knew that true power begins with self-definition. The moment you stop outsourcing your values to the crowd, you reclaim authorship of your life. And with that comes a quiet confidence, not the kind that demands recognition, but the kind that cannot be shaken. It changes how you show up, how you work, how you love, how you lead. You become non-manipulable because your self-worth is no longer up for negotiation. This is what real success looks like. Not applause, but peace. Not prestige, but purpose. A life you don't need a vacation from. Relationships that nourish instead of drain. Work that expresses your soul, not exploits your effort. And above all, a deep knowing that you are living in alignment with something real, something that can't be bought, liked, or staged. This is the ultimate Machiavellian advantage in an age obsessed with optics. The individual who knows who they are, what they value, and refuses to play by rules that lead nowhere. They don't need to dominate others to win. They simply refuse to be dominated by illusions. So here's your decision point. Keep chasing the phantom of validation, or start building something real, something durable, something deeply your own. Let the world keep screaming. Let the crowds keep clapping for smoke and mirrors. You build quietly. You grow deliberately. You define success not as a performance to impress others, but as a state of alignment that no one can take from you. Because in the end, the only victory that matters is living a life that feels like yours.